Good morning, everyone. So, how do you know if you're recovering the right way? Again, a really common question from a lot of you, understandably, because when you're suffering from anxiety, of course, you want to recover, and who doesn't want to recover quickly? So, this video is just to help you understand what you can do to assess whether or not you're recovering the right way. But the first thing is to try not to take how you recover so seriously. Everyone's going to allow slightly differently. Everyone will float through the tension slightly differently. I would sag, go loose, let it all happen. Some of my clients who have recovered would do a slightly different variation on that. So all you can do is really try, listen to the videos, listen to the guided practices, and just keep trying your best. That's why it's called practice. And the good thing to note is that you can't practice perfectly from day one, although any attempt to practice is perfect. It's a bit of a paradox. So what I mean by that is if you've had anxiety, if you've been in the anxiety state for a number of years, which pretty much everyone has been at least who's in the anxiety state, sensitization doesn't just happen overnight. So all of us who are in the anxiety state, who are watching these videos, have had anxiety for most probably years. So we've had this tension built up. We're in this high alert status. So it's impossible to fully allow panic. It's impossible to fully allow anxiety straight away. We're going to probably do it little by little. And that's all we can do. So it's impossible just to take the full lid off the anxiety pressure cooker and just let all that emotion and tension release straight away so you're instantly healed, because the body won't let you do it. Remember, the body's learned to tense up, suppress, run, push aside thoughts, etc., in order to protect you. Well, it thinks that's what it needs to do to protect you. We know why that's happened. It's this false sense of safety. But given we know that, it's going to take the body a bit of time to actually start to let go. So it's impossible to practice perfectly straight away. So therefore you can take the pressure off yourself, knowing that every time you just attempt to allow, every time you just drop the shoulders, every time you remind yourself this is just adrenaline, you're starting to shift the needle. Those neural pathways of recovery are forming. It's because they're forming. It doesn't mean the old ones of reactivity and anxiety are still there. They'll take a bit of time. So what we can do as a bit of a litmus test to see if you're recovering is, are you resisting or are you allowing? And that can be a question to ask yourself. If you've been in a bit of a setback, you're in a bit of a rut, you're fatigued, you're tired, again, all normal parts of the journey. Am I resisting or am I allowing? Symptoms, thoughts, adrenaline, emotions, it doesn't really matter what it is. Am I resisting? Am I allowing? Am I tensing against? Am I pushing away? Or am I allowing as best I can? I've done a video on resetting your way to recovery. So all we're doing is, when we remember, just adrenaline, slow down, go loose. Relief will come in time. So how much are you resisting before the relief comes, whenever it comes, and how much you are allowing? The more we allow, of course, over time, that leads to desensitization and ultimately recovery. So that's just a question to ask yourself. If you're in a rut, if you're struggling, am I doing more resistance than allowance of the energy that's fueling the current cycle of tension, worry, symptoms, rumination, whatever it is? And then just go back to the videos as a conscious reminder. So watch the Anxiety Cure series again, just to remind yourself what anxiety is, why you're in this state, so you can cement that knowledge and remind yourself, because when fear comes, it's normal that we react. That's what the first fear is all about. And we don't have to worry about the first fear. We're going to react for a while. That's what we do then when we realize we've reacted, to try and stop adding second fear by practicing and allowing. So go back to the videos, remind yourself what anxiety is, why it's happening. And then you've got the guided practices where I repeat over and over how to stop resisting as best you can how to allow instead of resisting over and over, because it's normal that they'll be back and forth. You take a breath, go loose, oh, I've got this, and then bang, you're into resistance again. That's not failure. That's just practice. That's just learning a new skill and a new habit. And that's why I repeat myself over and over. That's why I say the same thing in all these videos, but just in different ways, because sometimes we've heard it before and it becomes sort of like wallpaper. We don't notice it. But if I say the same thing in a different way, in a different context, it can resonate again. So we do need the reminders, but we want to use the conscious reminder. So asking yourself, am I doing more resistance than allowing? Oh, okay, yeah, I've probably been resisting this. I've probably been pushing aside. I've probably been tensing against or waiting for the relief to come. And that's all resistance. And that's okay. We're going to do some of that. And then what we want to do is then shift and reset. Okay, back to allowing. And that's the process of healing and recovery. So again, you've got the Anxiety Cure series, those 10 or 11 videos that are the core part of the program. And then you've got your practices to help you, guide you through what to do, because it is hard. It's not easy. That's why I have this whole channel. When fear comes, we react. That's what the flight or fight response is supposed to do. We are actually supposed to resist for a while and then allow as we practice. Remember, the flight or fight response is something we never want to lose, but at the moment it's overreactive. And so we're just practicing with it to get it back, to desensitize so it starts operating at an appropriate level and only reacting to real physical threats. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions on that, let me know. But if in doubt, just ask yourself, am I resisting more than I'm allowing? I wish you all the best. Take care.